Okay. So this is our first interview. So welcome. So Dana, I don't
Thank you.
know you. I know you virtually through a friend. And I know a little bit of your story. So if you just want to start with, telling us, your experience with grief. If you want to talk about who,
Sure,
so yours.
definitely. Um, I lost my mom in 2013. So she had metastasized breast cancer. She had battled breast cancer for, I'm going to say 15 to 20 years on and off. She had it in her first breast, went away. She had it in her second breast, it went away. And then the third time it came back, it actually was still considered breast cancer, but it was in her liver. Um, and she sadly passed away July 12th, 2013. And then not even a year and a half later, I lost my brother in 2014, October 1st, 2014. He passed away from heart failure. He had been sick for like 2 weeks. He had pneumonia and he actually went to the hospital, found out he had really bad hypertension, and sadly passed away. I'm hoping in his sleep. Are not super sure, but hopefully peacefully. And I always say he passed away from a broken heart because he just couldn't live without my mom. And then my dad in 2016 passed away from mesothelioma, which is from asbestos exposure from his job. So it was like 3 years of boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And it's a lot. And it was quite a 3 years. And thank God I had my kids in the interims of those. My oldest son actually came 3 weeks before I lost my mom. So he's been with me through every loss, and my younger son's been with me through just my dad's. So thank God for them because I don't know what I would have done without it.
Yeah, we have a niece and we say every day, if it wasn't for her, it would, I mean, it's tough. It's, no words, but it would be unimaginable if we didn't have her.
100%.
Um,
Make everything better, I feel like.
yeah. Oh gosh. So one of the questions that that's been on my mind a lot is how has grief changed you as a person?
Wow. So
Sorry, these are
I
some heavy
feel
questions.
no, totally okay. I feel like it's just a good question that I don't think I've ever really like thought about. So I like the question because I honestly haven't even really thought about it, but I feel like because so much happened at one time for me, like it wasn't like, oh, 10 years before that, somebody passed away and then 12, it was just like boom, boom, boom. I feel like it's made me stronger. Um, I feel like I've cried so much in the past. I can't even say 3 years because that would have been 2016. I've cried so much in the past 8 years. It's almost every single time I try to, you know, I try to make myself stronger every time I cry and think this is not what they would want. So, every time I'm upset about it or I'm hurt about it or, I just don't know what to do, I'll talk to them and, I'll try to get signs from them. And they do send signs a lot. I definitely look for them a lot because I believe in stuff like that. But they have totally made me stronger because each one of them passing away, I've gotten stronger and stronger. And I mean, not that I should say this about myself, but I am one of the strongest people that I know because of them. And I think that they would want me to be any other way. And I don't have a choice to not be strong because I never had a choice to break down and, not be okay because I've always had people who have relied on me. So I feel like it's a sad thing that my kids didn't get to meet like their grandma. You know, they only knew my brother for a little bit. They only knew my dad for a little bit, but I feel like my kids have made me be okay. And, I think that even if you don't have kids, I feel like something has to make you be okay. Like you said, your niece is there and, she's such like a light in your life and everything. And I just feel like there's always someone that needs you, even when you don't know that they need you. And I feel like they it just make it livable, I guess. But it's definitely not been an easy road. And I have cried more tears than I think most people have in their entire lives. And I'm only 32. So I feel like, I can't say it's not been an easy road, but sadly, each year it gets easier and easier just because you've gotten used to living life without them. But it's still just as hard as it was from day one.
Right. I mean, we're going on, the second will be 4 months for my sister. And, my best friend passed on August 30th, and, 3 days later, my sister passed. So I never was able to, and I still haven't been able to grieve the loss of my friend because my mind is so consumed with the loss of my sister. So like
Right.
you, it's like there was never enough time to register and to process and to be like, what just happened?
100%. And I feel like, especially with back to back like that, your grief kind of just goes into like one ball and it's just the grief over everything. And I feel like 3 days is crazy. I mean, mine's 3 years, yours is 3 days. That's a lot.
Yeah.
I couldn't even imagine.
Yeah. Yep. um, I know, I feel like sometimes people are like, I can't believe that you're still grieving or you're still upset or like time has passed on, like, it's time to move on with life. But it's not that easy. So, what would you like people to know about how you're feeling now? It's been, like you said, 8 years since the start of your grieving journey. So what are some things that you would want people to know?
So I talk about this a lot actually because people think because it's been 8 years or because it's been 7 years or because it's been 6 years that I'm okay now. Like it's like it's fine. Dana's dealt with it. It's okay. It's good. That's 100% not the case. And I say this all the time. You have to realize that this is a forever loss. This isn't you lost them 8 years ago and it's done. You lost them 7 years ago and it's done. You lost them 6 years ago and it's done. It's a forever thing. And people forget that often. I think they say, oh, well, Dana's strong, so she's fine. And, we don't have to talk about it anymore, or we don't have to be supportive of them. And this has happened a lot in my life. I have lost a lot of people in my life simply because they haven't been there for me. And to me, I give my whole heart to people. If you ever needed me, anybody, I don't really even know you, Krista. I don't know you at all, really.
Yeah.
I can't even say that I don't know you at all. If you ever needed me, I would be there for you. And I always expect the same from other people. And I've been really let down in the past. I hate to say that, but it's true.
No, I
And people
completely, yeah.
it's real and it's sad. And it's the people that you think are going to be there for you most aren't. And I always say that when something bad happens, you realize who's there for you. And there are no truer words than that. You really realize who loves you and who doesn't. And it's sad that somebody has to pass away for that to happen, but that is a true test of your relationship with someone.
Yeah.
And I don't just mean like friends, I mean like family. I mean like aunts, uncles, cousins, everybody. And it's sad, but it's true. And my biggest advice to somebody would be to just always be there for someone, because just because I put a smile on my face or just because you put a smile on your face doesn't mean that you're happy. It
Right.
means that you're fighting through it, and you will forever be grieving, and I will forever be grieving, and whoever has lost someone will forever be grieving. And people have to realize that they have to be there for them for a lifetime, not for a year, not for 2 years, not because they don't talk about it anymore and they think that everything's okay. It's not. You still have to be there for that person. You still have to talk to them, and you still have to realize that it's something that they're going to struggle with the rest of their lives. I mean, I know like holidays have just happened, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Halloween. Like Halloween was a big holiday for us too. Like,
Yeah.
I missed my family being there. And people think oh, well, Dana's done it so many times that it's okay. It's not okay. It's never the same. It's so sad. I feel so bad for my kids. I feel bad for myself. You know, I'm sure you felt bad for your family. I'm sure you felt bad with your sister not being there and your best friend. It's just like, it's, you're constantly reminded, like,
Yeah.
it's a death anniversary, it's a holiday, it's a birthday, it's just always a reminder. And all I could say to somebody is just be there for that person. Even if they don't say they need you, they need you. And you have to be supportive of people, and you have to realize that grief is forever. It's not for a year, it's not for 2 years, it's for the rest of your life. And just because somebody doesn't talk about it doesn't mean that they're still not grieving, because I
Completely
don't talk
agree.
about it all the time, but I grieve all the time.
Yeah.
That's would be my big piece of advice.
My motto for the past few months is I'd rather be like annoyed, not really annoyed, but like feel like someone's texting me too much than wondering why you're not texting me at all or reaching out at all. It takes like a second to send a text message. And even if I don't respond,
How are you?
yeah. And even if
Right.
there's some days where I just don't want to answer. There's some days where I'll respond to you, but I would rather be overwhelmed by your text messages or your phone calls than wondering why you haven't texted me or called me. And I think
100%.
I think some people, I've had people within this journey who I've been a little disappointed with, because I feel like if it was other way around, which I would never wish that on them, I would do anything. I would be reaching out. I'd be like, how are you? Can I do something? And the point of this channel is to show people that grief is uncomfortable. We all get that, but it's okay to talk about it. It's okay to reach out and be like, I don't know what to say, but I am here. That's all you
That's all you have to say. That's it.
That's it.
I'm here. You don't even have, you just say, I'm here.
Yeah.
Or how are you? That's it. That's all
Yeah.
you have to do. And that means more than people understand. People always think you have to say like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. You don't have to say anything. You just say, I'm here. How are you? I love you. I'm supporting you. That's it.
That's it.
2 words means a lot.
Yeah. So my next question is going to be how people have been supported, but we kind of just answered that within the other questions. Is there anything that you learned during this process, during this journey, that you didn't know 8 years ago?
Yes. So I have learned to value every single thing you do with your family. I mean, I always think about my last Christmas that I had with my mom. Like, it's something that I'm going to remember for the rest of my life. It's something that I will always treasure. People always say make memories, make sure you live your day like it's your last. Seriously do it, because not that I do that every day, but I really do value spending time with my family and being with them, because those are memories that my kids and my husband are going to remember for a very long time. And when somebody's not here, it makes it so hard. And you think, wow, I miss the Christmas that I had with them. I miss the Thanksgiving I had with them. I miss the Halloween I had with them. I miss the Easter I had with them. I miss the birthday I had with them. My dad passed away 5 days before my birthday. And I always say my birthday will never be the same. And it really won't. Like, nothing is ever going to be the same. But when someone passes away by a life event, like, not that my birthday was ever like a huge deal, but it just makes it so different. And I feel like, those times that you had with those people were so special. And it's just, you don't realize how special it is until you've lost someone. And I have grown up over 8 years. I can't even explain to you how much, and I've had to grow up, and it's kind of sad, but I've had to grow up, and I've had to not only explain to myself, but explain to my children what losing somebody is. And it's made me a stronger person. It's made me a better person. It's made me realize that everything is so precious in life. And I don't think that people realize that until they have lost somebody, or until they've almost lost themselves, you know what I mean? Like if
Yeah.
somebody's like had a really like cancer, or they've had something that's really like scared them to the point where, you know, you don't know if you're going to make it or not. And I feel like that's such a like a life altering thing. And I feel like it changes you forever, and it
Right.
changes you for the better. Although there are a lot of bad things that come with it, I do think it changes you just as a person altogether, mentally, emotionally, physically. It just changes you, and it truly makes you stronger and realize life is so precious.
Yeah. That's been a big motto in my mind since everything happened. I was at work, I think like 2 weeks ago, and there's like chocolate covered strawberries on the table, and someone's like, "Oh, I can't eat them. You know, I'm trying to watch myself." I said, "Life is too short. Eat the chocolate covered strawberry. It's at the end of the day, is it really going to matter? Like, just have the chocolate covered strawberry."
Right.
And you know,
Be happy.
when we were, my best friend and I were going through pictures to make collages for the wake, and we have so many family pictures. I come from a family of 7. There's 5 kids and my parents. And everyone was just saying how lucky we were that we had all those family pictures. And
100%.
our last family picture was on her birthday, which was 5 days prior to her passing.
I'm so sorry.
And like, how do you take another family picture knowing that someone's missing? Sorry, I didn't want to cry.
No.
But
you know what? Your sister would want you to take a picture, and she would be there in spirit 100%. And I always say, like, you know, my parents or my brother wouldn't want me to feel like this. And I don't know your sister at all, but I know your sister would want you to live your life and be happy. And I know it's never going to be the same. And I know what I'm saying. You're probably like, yeah, I've heard it 1,000 times before, but it's so true. Your sister would want you to be so happy and live your life happily and know that she's with you. And I
Yeah.
feel like that's just like something I live by every day. And I feel like I know that she would want the same for you. And I know it's not that easy, but I tell myself that all the time.
My birthday was last week, and my best friend put together a birthday gathering for me, and my siblings were there, and I wanted to take a picture of us all together, but it was very like, it was just hard, you know, saying like, "Oh, let's all take a picture together." There was a lot of hesitation, but like we did it, and it was our first, you know, sibling picture with just 4 of us.
Right.
So it's
And
like things
that's
like
when
that
it
you
hits
take for
home.
granted, and that you don't
Mhm.
have it anymore.
Right. 100%. And that's when, you know, when people are missing, like I always say, when people are missing at life events, or like your birthday is a life event, I feel like it so hits home, and I feel like it makes you realize how precious life is. It really does. And your sister, I don't know how old your sister
She had
was.
just turned 30.
I just know she looked young. How old was your sister?
She had just
30.
turned
See, my
30, yeah.
brother was 31. Way too young to pass away. And that's like, when they say only the good die young, I really feel like that's true, because that's just way too young to pass away, and so much life left, and so many things that they needed to experience still. But I always say, like, through us, they'll experience it. So I
Yeah.
feel like the things that we experience, they get to experience.
So the way your parents passed and your brother passed were 2 very different situations, you know. Your parents were sick, your brother was just kind of all of a sudden.
Mhm.
And when the way it's gonna come out, I don't think it's how people say, "Oh, you know, my sister passed tragically. She died because of, you know, the hurricane, all that stuff."
Mhm.
So we never got a chance to say goodbye because who knew that was going to happen? With your brother,
Right.
the same way, you didn't know that he was going to go to sleep and not wake up. Your parents,
Right.
maybe it was like a lingering goodbye.
It was. Yeah.
Opinion, was one easier, as I use easier in quotation marks, to deal with than the other?
So
Does that make sense?
although I knew my parents were going to pass away, I never said goodbye. Like I'm the kind of person that thinks that if you put things in the atmosphere that they're going to happen. So I never said goodbye. I always just said, I love you. And I saw them last, or, when my mom had passed away the day before, we went there and quite a bit of my family was there. My fiance at the time, which was my husband, was there. And it was harder to see her in that state than it was for anything else. And my dad too. My dad was big, tough guy, and to see him deteriorating, I mean, he couldn't move his arm. He just slowly started to just like shut down. It's just a very different process. But when my brother passed away, I still remember I was sitting on my couch. I was watching a show with my husband, and my dad called, and I just I can't even explain how it did not hit me at first. I just couldn't comprehend that my brother had passed away. I had just seen him 3 days before. He slept over at my house. We had a great time. He was fine. And it just I still in my head I just can't wrap my head around it. I can't even speak because I still don't get it. I still don't get how my brother was fine 3 days before that. And then I got that call. And I have to say that my brother's passing was the most traumatic. We didn't know how he passed away. And, the coroner was there when I got there. And it was just with my mom and my dad, I didn't see all of that. And I feel like the things I saw were a lot. And my brother was previously a drug addict. And, the thoughts in your head will forever be there. And me and my father, to grieve properly, had to know how he passed away. So we chose for him to get an autopsy, which I didn't want, but I just, in my head, to grieve the way that I needed to grieve, I needed to know how he passed away. So it was just such a different process. My mom was sick, my dad was sick, Keith wasn't sick, my brother wasn't sick. So it was just so different. And if you're asking which one is harder than the other, I think when you lose someone tragically, it is harder. Not harder in that you love them any more or less. It's harder to grieve because I still 7 years later don't feel like I have fully grieved my brother's loss because I just keep thinking of him healthy and happy. And it just wasn't something that I'm ever going to wrap my head around. So I think that losing someone and watching someone pass away who's very sick, you almost thank God that they're not in pain anymore. When they're not in pain, I know that your sister passed away tragically too. When you know they're not in pain, you know that they're okay. It's just a different grieving process. And I feel like it's almost incomparable, the two. But I would definitely say that someone passing away tragically is much harder because you don't have that time to prep. Not that you're ever prepped for it, but you don't have that time to say they're sick, they're not going to get better. My parents both had stage 4 cancer. There was no coming back from it. It was just, it was a lot of making them feel comfortable. And I didn't have that with my brother. And I feel like it's just so much different. And so still 7 years ago, very hard to comprehend.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel the same way. I mean, it hasn't been 7 years, but it's still, there are some days where I still don't believe it. There's still some days where I'm like, this isn't real. Or I'm
Right.
gonna wake up and she's just gonna be home. And I don't know if that feeling will ever go away. I like to say I live on Denial Island, population 1. Because it's still, You know, my mom just before my sister came brought lunch over, and my sister's like, oh, my mom said I almost called Susie to let her know that the food was here. You know, they're just no words.
No. And I feel like, so hard to lose a sibling. I feel like so terrible to lose a child. It's just, I feel like all around, it's just so terrible. And I feel like I'm still in denial and it's 7 years later. And, just because it was so unexpected. And I feel like I still to this day I do this honestly with my parents too, but like when I need advice, like I'm like, oh, like I need to ask them. But like I still do ask them. I just don't verbally hear them say it, but I do get signs from them. And, I feel like if you believe in that, I feel like it makes it easier to process. And like, even if you see like a butterfly or I see robins or I see cardinals, I'm always like, oh, that's them. And it makes me feel like they're still around me
Right.
and with me.
Yeah. We do you I know everyone's like opinion on this is different, but do you go to the cemetery to visit them? Do you feel like that?
So I do. I don't think it helps me. I do it because I want to show. It's taken a lot of years for me to explain to my children where my family is, and I feel like my little one still doesn't get it. I feel like my older one kind of comprehend. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't really comprehend it, so I feel like it's very hard for them to understand it. But when we go to the cemetery, my parents and my brother are in a mausoleum. So we'll make like a day of it. We'll go, like my kids love to get Slurpees. So we'll get Slurpees before they drink their Slurpees. We go there, we pay our respects. We go to my grandma and grandpa's grave, which is right across from where my parents and my brother are. So we try to make like a day of it and make it like a positive thing. But it doesn't help me at all to go there. I mean, it actually, to me, I know I probably shouldn't say this, but it makes me feel worse. Seeing their
No,
names there
I
just
thank you for being
solidifies,
honest. Yeah.
yeah, it solidifies that they're not here anymore, even though I know they're not here anymore, but
Yeah.
seeing their names. And I feel like the cemetery was so nice and allowed, like we just had a 2-person plot. It was going to be my mom and my dad, but because my brother passed away so tragically, they did my mom, my dad, and my brother's like in the middle on the bottom. Just seeing like the triangle of their names, it's like it doesn't matter how long is going to pass, I'm going to always feel like this. It's just like it's real. Like
Yeah.
it makes it real. Like I know it's real, but seeing it makes it real. And to me, it doesn't help. But I do think it helps my children understand that this is where they're resting, and this is where they're laid to rest. And even though they're not here, they're still here.
Right.
And they're with us, and it helped me explain it to them. So I feel like in that aspect it has helped, but no, it does not help me going to the cemetery at all.
Which is fair. I where my sister is, our grandparents and our cousin are also. My cousin passed when he was 20. We're 5 months apart. So he was like one of my best friends.
Mm.
So I felt it in the beginning it was hard, but then I would go often. I went every birthday, every holiday, even just to go on my own, no special day, just to go and visit him. I would leave him letters. I would like dig them deep in, and so he could read them. But with my sister, like you said, going there just makes it real. And
Mhm.
once, two of my closest friends came with me, and we videoed, FaceTimed my best friend who was living in London at the time. So the four of us were like all there together.
Mhm.
Her tombstone isn't up yet. She has just that plaque from the funeral home.
Mhm.
But walking up and just like seeing the name and seeing her picture, I haven't been able to go back since. And
That's okay. And that's no, you're
sometimes
normal.
I feel guilty and I feel bad and I feel like I should be going. My parents go, you know, I think my siblings go on their own. I just makes my heart so heavy. It like brings me to panic
Mm-hmm.
and
And I feel like if
feel
that's
bad.
how you feel, she wouldn't want you to go there. I feel like she wouldn't want you like for such a long time. I mean, I literally lived around the corner from where the mausoleum is, where my parents and my brother are, and I lived there for 2 years. I maybe went 5 times, and I only went because I wanted to keep it up and make sure everything was okay there. But I your sister would not want you to go if it doesn't make you comfortable. And honestly, I still don't feel comfortable going to the mausoleum. I just do it out of respect for them and I do it for my kids. But other than that, I feel like there is no difference if you go or not. It doesn't make you a bad person if you don't want to go. You can talk to them anytime. You don't have to go there and talk to them. You could talk to them whenever you want to. And I feel like I'm in the same boat as you because that's exactly how I feel.
Yeah.
It makes me still to this day want to throw up. Like every time I go there and I see it, it makes me have instant anxiety, and I have anxiety to begin with. It makes me my stomach hurt and it makes it just all real again.
Yeah.
And I totally get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
I hope the feeling goes away because, you know, visiting my cousin was hard, but I was able to do it. This is just like a complete
Right.
like different ball game. And I don't even know. I think I maybe have like 10 minutes left in this meet. I'm not sure. So is there anything that people said to you that helped slash were there things people said to you you were like, I can't believe you just said that to me? Or are there things that you wish people had said to you?
So I have a very close circle of people who I know are there for me. And those people have helped me tremendously. You know, I'm very blessed that my cousin is my best friend. And we are like inseparable. We always say we're sisters. She so many times has said, like, Dana, you're a great mom. You're doing a good job. Those are things that I need to hear because those are things that I know my family would tell me. And those are things that I don't hear a lot, you know, very few people tell me that. And it's things that I need to hear because that to me is the most important job in my life. And that's what I live for. So I feel like hearing things like that really keeps me going. Are there things that people have said that are wrong? So I can't even tell you how many times people have said things to me. And I'm like, who says that? Like, you know, when my brother had passed away, people are like, oh, he overdosed. Like, who says that? Even if that is what happened, which it did not, if
Yeah.
that is what happened, who says that? Like, who in life? I would never want to know how someone passed away if somebody didn't want to tell. And I already told everybody, but like, if somebody didn't want to tell me how someone passed away and you assume it's from something that they didn't do for 7 years before that, that's like mind boggling to me.
Right.
People have said, people have asked if I'm over the fact that my mom died 8 years ago. I'm never going to be, I'm like, literally, I can't express in words. I will never be over any of it. I will never be over any of their losses. And the fact that my mom was my best friend, I could tell you is my hardest loss. And it's the hardest because she was such a vital part of my life. And people have said, well, it's been a long time. Like, you're okay now, right? No, I'm not okay. I'm not okay. I smile and I put a happy face on for my family. And so that I cannot live in constant fear and anxiety, but I am constantly sad about it and I'm constantly not okay about it. And the fact that people think that you're okay with it is just like mind boggling to me.
Right.
And, you know, for the people that aren't here for me anymore, I've learned that those people don't deserve to be in your life. I definitely have people who are there for me, and I so appreciate the people that are there for me. But you do 100% learn who's there and who's not. And the people who are not there for me anymore, I don't miss them because those were not true people in my life.
Right.
And the people that I do have help me and keep me going. And that's really all I need. And I feel like as long as you have a small circle or a close group of people that are there for you, that's all you need. And anybody else who's not there for you is not, I mean, I've cut family members out of my life. So I feel like the people who are not there for me, I have no interest in being there for them.
Right. Which is completely fair. My big thing, another one of my big things during this whole thing is there are people who I'm like, I can't believe they haven't been there as for me as much, but then I just need to focus on the people that have been there, because
Right.
the ones who deserve my attention, those are the ones who deserve, my response back. Those are the people who I need to focus my time and energy on, because they were there for me when I needed help the most. And
100%.
it's a tough lesson to learn. And
It is. And it's
earlier,
tough
it's hard. It's sad that it has to come down to something like this happening to realize that.
100%. And it's sad that the people that those people trusted to be there, like I know my mom trusted quite a few people to be there for me. My dad did, my brother did. And the people that weren't there, it's just sad, not only for you, but it's sad for the person who passed away because they trusted them. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's the saddest to me. But like I said, if somebody's not there for me, I'm not there for them. If somebody's there for me, I'm there for them. And I feel like, you learn a lot of things when somebody passes away, and it makes you a stronger person, and it makes you realize who's a good person in your life and who's not.
Yeah. I'm a big quote person, and I came across this quote the other day, and I'm going to read it to you verbatim so I don't mess it up. It said, "This year I met the most broken version of myself, but also the strongest." And if that didn't hit home, nothing else is more accurate.
I feel like that is so relatable. I feel like,
Yeah.
and it's true, like you have your lowest lows and you have your highest highs, and there's everything in between that. And I feel like that's what grief is. You might wake up one day super sad, and you might wake up the next day super happy. And then you might wake up the next day mad, and you might wake up the next day sad again. It's just like it's a process. And I feel like that quote is super relatable and so true.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you again for allowing me in your journey. I'm sorry that we're both, but thank you. And
Thank you for having me.
if
I'm
anything
so
else that you want to say, you're welcome to come back. We can do this again.
Sounds good.
It was nice to officially virtually meet you. And
Same.
I wish you peace, and I wish whatever else can. I think peace and is the best.
I'm totally same back to you. And all I could tell you is I'm here if you ever need to talk, and
Same.
every day it's going to get better.
Thank you. And that's it. Thank you so much again. And
of course, thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
Definitely.
All
of course.
right.
Thank you so much. You too.
Bye.
Bye.